This video covers PSK, which is a method to solve most double parity PBLs. So firstly, you should know every SP, PS, KP, PK, and SS and KK one out, because the way this method works is by using a CPL like JG or NN to set up into another case to be one of the 5 slices set earlier. In this case, it's SS. So thus, you need to know what angles to execute a J-perm or an N-perm from to set up each different PL into a P, S, and K-perm, including the different types like SA and SM. So to show what angles to execute each PL from, the angles will be shown on the picture of the PL like so. So the first case is the adjacent swap. So you can first force a P-perm by preserving this adjacent swap either like this by slicing along here, or like this, so either this way or this way. So either way preserves the adjacent swap. And if we do a J-perm, notice how we get a P-perm on both layers. And notice how the 2x2 P block will be at the same spot as the adjacent swap, and the bar will be at the back because of how we did the CP. If we put the adjacent swap in the back and then split the swap, so you can either put it like this, so it splits the swap like this, or like this, both ways split the swap. If we do a JJ, this is how we get a K-perm. So this K-perm will have the same alignment as the layers, since the J-perm only swaps the blocks around. So that's why we have KA, we have KM, since we misalign the layer, and KA at the bottom. And this is how you force a K-perm with an adjacent swap. And lastly, if you do an N-perm from any angle alignment, so any angle like this, any alignment, when you do an N-perm, notice how we get an S-perm with the alignment same as the layer, since we did a J-perm which moves the blocks around. So next we have PJ. So PJ is similar to adjacent in that it's also a single swap of 2 adjacent corners, which means that I can also force P, S, and K-perms on this PL. So to force a P-perm, what we can do is you can hold the headlights on the left or right and preserve the large block. I can also think of it as preserving the adjacent swap here. So either way like this, and we do a J-perm, we actually get a P-perm. So the 2x2 block of the P-perm will actually be in the back and also on the same side as where the headlights were originally because of the CP. So the headlights were on the left, so I know that the P 2x2 block will be on this gem and here. So next we can also force an S-perm by holding the headlights in front, and then in either alignment we can do a J-perm, so let's say like this, and we get S-perms. So notice how the alignment of the S-perm will actually be the same as how we align the layer. So if we align both like this, we get the S-perm of the same alignment. And lastly, if we want to force a K-perm, we actually can just need to do an N-perm from any angle alignment like this. So you can actually hold it misaligned, and notice how we get a K-perm with the blocks aligned the same as how we did the N-perm from earlier. It's the same alignment as the layer. So next we have an opposite swap which can only force a P-perm. So the way it works is that you hold the opposite swap on the left or on the left and right like this, and you can align it either way, and you do a J-perm and you get a P-perm. So the headlights will remain at the back because of JJ preserves the blocks at the back, and a 2x2 block will actually be in front and also cut by the slice. So because you know the 2x2 block can be here or here, but we know that it has to be cut by the slice, so we know it has to take up this space. Similar for this is a slice, therefore it has to be here. There we go. So similar to opposite, we also have PN, which is an opposite swap of 2 corners. So it's the same as op in that you can only force a P-perm. So the way it works, you hold the 2x2 blocks of the PN and then hold them so that you slice between them. So in this case, you're slicing between them like so, and when you do a J-perm, this is how you get a P-perm with the headlights in front and the blocks in the back. So the way you memorize is that you notice how this 2x2 block will actually be the same as the 2x2 P block in the end. So that's how you predict what kind of P-perm you'll get. So next we have W-perms. So for W-perms, we can actually do an N-perm from any angle and alignment. So if we do an N-perm, you actually get S-perms. But notice how, unlike adjacent, the S blocks will actually be aligned differently. So in this case, we align the layer, but we still got SM. And then in this case, we misaligned the layer, but we got SA. So it's different from the alignment. So that's for forcing S, but you can also force K perms on W perms as well. So by finding the H perm side of the W perm, so in this case, these two colors are opposite, these two are opposite. And if we slice between the corner, between the two H perm edges, so in this case, this is the H perm side, this is the corner of the slice between. So either like this, or like this. So either way, when you do a J perm, this is how we get K perms. So again, unlike adjacent, when you do a J perm and slice between this corner, notice how the K perm blocks actually differently aligned from the layer. So this is KM, even though we aligned the layer, and this is KA, even though we originally misaligned the layer. So it's different. So similar to W perms, we also have M perms. So M perms you can tell because there's no blocks and you have opposite color headlights. So you can actually force S perm by holding the headlights in front. And when we do a J perm in either alignment, so like this or like this, whatever, we do a J perm, we get S perm. But notice how, again, the blocks are differently aligned from the layer itself. So this is aligned, but you got SM, this is misaligned, but you got SA. So you can also do an N perm, again from any angle, any alignment, and you do an N perm. Notice how we get K perms. So notice how, again, the blocks, right, are differently aligned from the layer. This misaligned, we got KA, this aligned, we got KM. So those PLs didn't have any variance because they were symmetric, but the next few PLs have actually variance because there are different mirrors of them. So the first case we have are B perms. So for B perms, we can force a P perm by preserving the blocks, and we're holding it for any alignment and doing an N perm. We actually get P perms. So depending on the angle and the type of N perm out you do, the blocks will actually be at different places. So if you hold the headlights in the back, and we do an N perm starting with a U prime, like this, or an E prime. If we do it like this, notice how we get the P perm with the bar on the right, and the blocks will be on the left. So where the blocks will be depends on where the left B blocks were. So that's how there's a block here, and there's a block here. So therefore the P perm, the 2x2 P block will be here and here. So we just do an N perm and we know that the P blocks will be here. So another example is if we hold the headlights on the right like this, and then we do an N perm, the headlights will actually be on the back, and the 2x2 P block will be at the same spot where the blocks were in front. So notice how these two blocks are in front, so the P block will be here and here. So we can also force S perms on this. So by holding the headlights in front, preserving the blocks like so, do a J perm, notice how we get S perms. So because the J perm doesn't change the alignment, it only shuffles the blocks around. So this means that we'll actually get SM when we misalign and SA when we align it. So it's the same alignment on the layer. And lastly, if we hold the disconnected block in front, so in this case, there's two blocks, this is connected to the headlights, this is disconnected, hold it in the front, so in this case not like this, a U2 away. So this is the disconnected block. When we hold it like this, slice between the headlights, so a J perm, we actually get KK. So we get K perms. And notice how because the J perm shuffles the blocks around, the alignment of the K perm will be the same as the layer. So next we have D perms. So for D perms, to force a P perm, we can actually hold the headlights on the sides, so like this and this, and preserve the blocks like so. And when we do a J perm, we actually get P perms like this. So notice how the 2x2 P block will actually be at the same spot as the connected block. So notice how this block is connected to the headlights, so the 2x2 P block will be here, like that. Another thing is you can also execute from the U2 angle as well. So it's Y2 away, and we get a P perms as well. So we can also force an S perm. So the way it works is you hold the headlights in front, and instead of preserving the blocks this time, you actually want to break the blocks. So slicing like this breaks this block and this block, so that's good, that's what I want. And you do a J perm, we actually get S perms at the back. So that's how instead of being aligned to the layer, they're actually misaligned. So this is aligned, but you got SM, and it's misaligned, but you actually got SA. And lastly, we have K-pumps. So to force a K-pump, we hold the blocks in the back. So still headlights on the right this time, and but the blocks on the back, and we instead want to break the blocks this time. So in this case, slicing like this, breaks this block, then we do a J-pump, we actually get K-pumps. And notice how the alignment is actually different from the layer as well, like the S-pumps from earlier. So next we have K-pumps. So for K-pumps, we actually hold the headlights on the sides like this, preserving the blocks like so. And when we do a J-pump, we actually get a P-pump. So notice how the 2x2 block is actually in front, cut by the slice. So that's how it's here, and it'll be here, and the headlights will be on the side opposite to where the headlights were. So you can also force an S pump on K pumps as well. So the way it works is we hold the headlights in front, preserve the blocks like so, and we do a J pump, we actually get an S pump on the back. So this is how the layers. Notice how the S pump is aligned the same as the layer, because we did a J pump and we preserve the blocks, and the headlight and the blocks will be at the back like so. So for S pumps, we can actually force a P pump by holding the short end of the blocks in front. So in this case, we are aligning the layer, we are aligning the blocks like this, holding the short end in front. So this is a short end, not like this, and when we do a J pump, we actually get a P pump. So actually the P pump will be at the same spot as where the other 2x2 block, the other block is. So here, and it will be in the back, since it's a diagonal corner swap. And you do a JJ, so the P pump will be here and here. So we can also force K pumps. So the way it works is you hold the blocks in the back, preserve the blocks like so, then we do a J pump. We actually get a K pump, headlights in front, and also the blocks are in the same alignment as the layer, or basically as the same as the S pump as well. So next we have P pumps. So like B pumps, P pumps can also be set up into another P pump by doing an N pump. So the way it works is that we have this pseudo block here. So this pseudo block is not part of this bar or this 2x2, so here or here. And what we do is we break the pseudo block like this. So in this case, imagine it is not preserved. It's not preserved, and what we do, we just do an N pump, and we get P pumps. So again, the type of P pump you get will actually depend on how you hold the P pump and what kind of N pump out you do. So one example, if we hold the headlights in the back, and then we break the pseudo blocks like so, when you do an N pump with a U prime move, we actually get the headlights on the right, and the P pump will be on the left side, and actually be preserved like this. So you can also think of it as the 2x2 blocks being moved by a U move. So this will move here, this will move here, like so. So that's one way you can think of it. So we can also force S pumps on this PL. So what you do is you hold the headlights in front, preserve the pseudo block this time, and then when we do a J pump, we get S pumps with the blocks aligned the same as the layer. So misaligned, we got SM, aligned, we got SA. And lastly, we can also force K pumps. So the way it works is that we have to preserve the pseudo block in the back like this. So notice how we have the pseudo block here. When we preserve it in the back and do a J pump, we get K pumps. So the alignment of the blocks is the same as the alignment of the layer. And then the last PL we have are C pumps. So for C pumps, remember it's basically no blocks, headlights that are adjacent, and then you recognize based on the pseudo block here. So we can force S pumps by first holding the headlights in front and then preserving the opposite colored pseudo block. So it's actually two. There's one here connected to the headlights, and there's one here. So the way I think of it is that you just check one side, find the pseudo block, and align like so. So in this case, I'll align this one, and this one I know is already aligned like this, and you can check here. So we align the pseudo blocks, and what I do is we do a J pump, and we get an S pump in the front, and the blocks are aligned differently. So aligned, we got SM, misaligned, got SA. So we can also force a K pump. So the way it works is that we first find the disconnected pseudo block. So in this case, it'll be this one here and this one here. So this is the pseudo block, this is the headlights, is disconnected. So then we hold the pseudo blocks in front, slice between them, and we do a J pump. We actually get K pumps. So notice how the blocks are differently aligned from the layer itself. So that may seem like a lot of stuff to memorize, but you should realize there are quite some patterns that occur in these cases. So first thing you may realize is that whenever you hold headlights in front and do a J pump, almost always you end up forcing an S pump because of the way CPU works. And similarly, if you hold the headlights on the left or the right, basically on the side, when you do a J pump, you're most likely gonna get either a P or a K pump, because the way CPU works is that we have an adjacent swap and we do a J pump with the adjacent swap on the side already. So that means that instead of headlights, so that can only mean it will be either a P or a K pump. And last thing you may realize is that almost always you have to preserve the blocks, okay? Because S and K pump also have two blocks as well. And so to have the blocks at the end, we want to preserve the blocks as well. So for example, K pumps we said earlier, doing a J pump right here preserves the block alignment, and also because the J pump doesn't mess up the stuff from behind, this side will stay the same. Therefore, you get S pump with the blocks at exactly the same spot. So when you first start to find your own solutions with PSK, first thing you should do, you should check if there are easier way to do this case. So for example, this BPN, this DH, and this is PNC. So all these cases could be solved with PSK, but you'll realize that there's actually a much faster way to solve these cases. So BPN, you can actually just do EPCP, opposite swap, into NJ. This DH, you could do PSK by forcing PS or SP, but instead what you should do is by doing TJ to J pumps. And lastly, this PNC, again you could do PSK, but a much faster and easier method is to do VF into edge. So these cases were covered in all the previous videos, so you should make sure you use those methods instead of trying to use PSK. So another thing when deciding on solutions is that you should also make sure to use the correct CPL. So main rule of thumb is to avoid using NJ because it's 5 slices long, and you try to use NN and JJ instead. So for example, this case, if you may think, oh, I can do I can do NJ instead into SP, that's not actually good, and instead you should find a different solution instead. So JJ into SS for this case will be much better. So another thing is that if you also find a PBL, which you can solve with NN into PSK, so NN into PS or NN into PK, you should prefer that instead of JJ to PSK, assuming that the PBL has no bar flip. I'll cover this later. So now it's time for some example solves. Here's the first one. Okay, so I see I have KA and M. So to solve K and M, first I know that a K pump can force P, S, P, and S, and this one can force S and K. So get this, I can force different types of cases, but the one I usually want to force is PS or SP because it's the most versatile. Because no matter the alignment of the P and the S, they're all 5 slices, which is quite good. Instead of, let's say, forcing KK, which will be harder to do. So to force PS, I know that this one is the only PL that can force a P. This one can't force a P, so I know I have to do a P here, and on the bottom I have to force an S to complement this. So I can do to force a P, I'll hold the headlights on the side, and I'll preserve the blocks. And for the M pump, I'll hold it in front and slice either way. So I'll hold it like this for now. So what I can do a J pump into PS. So one thing I realized is that when I preserve the blocks like this, I notice that the headlights are actually on the left. So that means the P pump will have the headlights will have the bar on the right. So afterwards, I know I need to do a U2 afterwards. And for M pump, just from experience, you should know that the blocks actually be on the side as well. So I can just do a J pump, U2 on the top layer because I know the bar will be here, And now notice that the P perm, as I do my U2, I notice that the 2x2 P block will be here. And then what I can just do is PS. Like that. Here's a second example solve. Okay, so I see I have a C perm on top, CR actually, because the disconnector block is here on the right, and I have an adjacent swap on the bottom. So I know for the C perm I can force S or K, and for this I can force PS or K. So I noticed that actually forcing SP is actually viable because I only need to do a J perm for both layers to force SP. So that's what I'll do. So in this case, I noticed that the pseudo block is here, so I'll align it, and for this adjacent swap, the force a P perm, I want to hold it either like this or like this. So you could hold it like this or like this, either way it should be fine. But for this case, for most of the cases where I know I have to force SP, I usually like holding the adjacent swap on the right like this, because I know that the P perm will be here, and then this bar will be here as well. So let's say if I just do a J perm first, notice how I said earlier, the 2x2 block will be here, the bar will be here. And when I set up to do an SP, I know that I have to move this bar to the left. Wait, hold on. I know when I move this bar to the left, this P block will be in front. And most of the SPs with the P block in front are usually quite good. So that's what I'll try to do. So which is why I'll first misline this to preserve the block, and also hold the adjacent swap on the left misline like this, and then I'll do JM into SP. So another thing you should realize is that for C perms, the S blocks will always be in front, and then you know where the P block will be already. So this makes it a very easy case to one loop. Here's the third example solve. Okay, so I see I have a D perm, DM, and W perm on bottom. So for a D perm, I can force P, S, or K perms, and for this one, I can only force S or K. So you might think, oh, I can force a P, I can force a S, let's do something into PS. But you'll notice that I have to do a J perm on this and N perm on this. I have to do JN into PS, which is not very good. So there's 10 slices. So instead, what I can do, I can force PK, because it's actually a 4 slicer into a 5 slicer, JJ into PK. So for this one, to force PK, what I can do, I can first preserve the blocks like this, so that I have the headlights on the right, and to force a K perm, I can hold the H perm corner, the corner between the H perm side like this. So it doesn't matter either way you set, because PK is versatile in that all PKs are 5 slices long. So I'll hold it like this, into a J perm, and I have PK. So from here, I can immediately go into my PKL, cancel the bar flip, like that. Here's the fourth example solve. Okay, so I see I have a W perm on top and an S perm, SM actually. So for a W perm, I can force either S or K, and for an S perm, I can force either P or K. So I could force KP again. That will give me a 9 slice solution, 4 plus 5, which is okay. But the thing is that I want to find something that's more consistent for all WSs, because the way KP works is that the angles are kind of inconsistent, so it'll make it a bit harder to find the mid ABF. So another solution I can try is actually forcing KK, since this can force a K with a J perm, this can also force a K with a J perm. So to force a K perm on the S layer, I know I have to put the blocks in the back, preserve them like this. So using this and when we do a J perm, I know that I'll get KM. So on this layer, I want to force KA instead. So to force an aligned K perm, you might think to actually hold it like this, but a W perm actually forces a different K perm. It will force KM when you align it. The align will be different. So I know that instead of aligning the W perm, I should misalign like this. So recap, this W perm, when I slice it like this and do a J perm, it will actually give me KA, because it will be a differently aligned, and this will give me KM. So that's how I know when I do a JJ like this, I'll get KK. So another thing you can predict is that since the blocks are in the back for an S perm, after I do the K perm, the headlights will be in front, and all I need to do is just bring a D2 to move the blocks in the back to the front here. So jperm. The blocks are already in front here, so I'll align them immediately, do a D2 like I said earlier, and then you get KK like that. Okay, here's the fifth example solve. Alright, so I see I have a P-perm, this is PL, and I have an adjacent sort here. So I can force PSK on either of these. So notice how I could force, one way I could do it is that, since you know that PS is a viable case, what I could do is I could force a P-perm on here and S-perm here by doing JJ like so. And yeah, that could work. But notice how for P-perms, I can also force another P by doing N-perm like this. Right, by breaking up the pseudo block. And for an adjacent sort, I know again that I can, by doing an N-perm, I can actually force an S-perm. So yes, I could force PS by doing JJ, but that will be a 9-side solution. Instead, I could do an 8-side solution by doing NN, so break the pseudo block, put the adjacent sort anyhow, like this, and then I'll get PS. So that was 3 plus 5 sizes, that makes it 8-side solution. Here's the last example solve. Okay, so I see I have BA and an M-perm here. So this B-perm can force P as a K, and this M-perm can force either S or K. So you might think, I can force PS, but the thing is that you have to do NJ from this angle, and NJ is 5 slices, which is not very good. So instead, you might, when you start experimenting, you might find 2 solutions for this. So one solution you may find immediately is that, notice how I put the headlights in front like this, I can actually force SS. So if I want to force SS, I know that doing a J-perm like this on the B-perm, I will get an S-perm, SA actually. So I know if I want to force SM on the other layer. To force a misaligned SM, I want to align the M-perm since I know that it will swap the alignment. So I could do JJ into SS, right? But the thing is that I have to cancel to bar flip later. So a less known solution, but what you should do for no bar flip, in this case, should be holding the headlights in the back and doing NN into PK. So this ties back to earlier where I said that you should actually try to find cases where you can do N-perms instead. So in this case, when I do NN like this, I'll force a P-perm. So in this case, I preserve the blocks. I'll force a P-perm and a K-perm. So I'll get PK. So when I do NN, the bar is flipped, which sets up very nicely for PK, which is a 5-sizer. Right. So just now that JJ into SS solution is also valid for CM. So this is similar to the JJ SS solution for earlier, but I thought I'd just bring it up. So in this case, what you should do instead of, so for this C-perm, I actually have to preserve the blocks here and misalign the M-perm differently. I can do JJ into SS. So it's a very similar solution to earlier, but instead this case only requires you to do, first off, it only requires you to misalign, to differently align both layers, and also you only need to do a small move to set up into SS. Yeah, alright, so that's it for PSK. The next video will cover how to solve PBLs with O, X, and Q cases.